Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we have really interesting conversation tonight about artificial intelligence in business analysis. I have great guest with me tonight. But first, let me remind you who am I and what we are doing here. So it's BA Day After Work Talk podcast, and we usually we have two hosts. We have Rainer, founder of BA Day and managing director of Mosventa, but unfortunately he is busy tonight, so maybe I will be alone tonight. So I am Alexander Moskalyuk. I am president of one of presidents of one of the directors, sorry, of IBA Ukrainian chapter. Also, I have a lot of experience in IT projects. Uh, have some articles, speak at some conferences, also, and have some experience in business analysis, project management, development, cybersecurity, and other topics. Together with Rainer, who is a certified business analyst with huge experience and also former president of IBA Germany chapter, we are looking for interesting people to bring to our audience to share their experience, their knowledge, practical things with our audience to discuss interesting topics that can be useful in real life and in real projects. Before we start our conversation tonight, let me just remind you about our sponsors who help us to go on with this podcast and also to make our conference in May this year. So the main sponsor is Deutsche Telekom. Also, we have consulting companies like IBO and IREP and Masventa, of course. Thank you very much for supporting us, and let me introduce David. David, tell a few words about yourself, and let's go to topic we want to discuss. And unfortunately, we lost David. I think there was this wrong button, but he will be back soon. Okay. So, David, please introduce yourself.
All right. Good. I would say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining from. My name is David, and I would say I'm a certified business analyst with a distinguished career spanning numerous industries, name it manufacturing, healthcare, IT, retail. And I would say I have a proven track record of what I've done so far. So also, I would say that I'm the founder of DOBAC. DOBAC is David Odepidan Business Analyst Community. And what do we do there? Our mission is just to ensure that we foster people from diverse background, to ensure that they have a supportive network where we exchange knowledge and professional development. So, all in all, I would say my expertise extends to requirement engineering, business process improvement, working with um, software, as a service, CRM and ERP system. So, I'll just stop there right now about myself.
Okay, yeah. I know that you want to share knowledge and help people to go to business analysis and improve their experience and knowledge in business analysis. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, without artificial intelligence, there is no way, yeah, we can do anything, I think, now or in nearest future. As
Yeah.
one of the people said at one of the conferences, that business analysts won't be replaced with AI. They will be replaced with other business analysts who can use AI.
Yeah.
So let's first talking about AI. Let's talk about different subcategories of AI. What is AI? Yeah, from your point of view and from your expertise, and for what is AI for business analysts?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, for me, I would say AI, it has been in existence, right? And this is just to follow the trend of, you know, using it optimally, right? Because we have expert system, and if you look at expert system, they are rule based. So for me, I would say that AI actually can be categorized into three main types based on functionality. And if I say three main types, we have the weak AI, which we know as narrow AI. We have the general AI, where we have the agent, and also we have what is called the agentic AI. So now we are going towards agentic AI, because you see most people are saying, "Oh, will AI replace me, or will it, take my job?" And what I say to people is, is the part whereby you can augment, AI to effectively work creatively, right? And that's the part is an emerging form, of intelligence that can make decisions, right, and also take autonomous action, whereby it's continually learning. So for business analysts, I would say that it's the part and the skill to rightfully optimize and use them effectively. So they can't take our job, because you still need the human interaction, you still need the human contribution. And that's why I say there's what we call augmentation, and there's what we call automation, right? So if you look at augmentation, is the synergy between human and artificial intelligence. So it's saying that how do we effectively, use it, so that we can give the repetitive tasks to AI to handle for us, whereby we think strategically, overall creatively, to say, how do we make this better? So that's what I can say about artificial intelligence. And speaking of categories, like I mentioned earlier, I said that we have artificial intelligence, we have machine learning, and that's the subset. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI.
Okay, and if you're talking about machine learning and deep learning,
Yeah.
what is difference for you as okay? We are as business analysts. We're not developers, of AI systems or
No.
any other. We just sometimes we are users of this and we use it for everyday tasks. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? What is the difference for us as a business analyst between deep learning and machine learning?
Okay. So deep learning itself, it's a subset of machine learning. So I'm not talking about, I won't go in depth into it, what it is, but I would just say it's based on artificial neural networks. So for business analysts, it's for us to understand how it works, because is the output, is the input, right? The input you give into the artificial intelligence would determine your output. So it's essential for us to understand how it works, right? Because if you look at it, you can predict. So that's why I would say that it operates on massive data set, large data set, as deep learning. So if you look at data analyst, and I would say that as business analysts, we are not just restricted to saying, as a BA, what I do is just to take requirement documentation, gather elicit requirements rather, and do all those paperwork and all, to fulfill, to make a project work. However, we as business analysts, we wear multiple hats, right? And that's why I say that it's essential for us to understand how it works, how deep learning works. So for machine learning, I would say machine learning also refers to how systems, can learn by themselves. This is whereby you see that they work on models. And this is just me talking about algorithms. Okay. So if you make predictions now, and you say that to make a prediction on how much money, you know, uh might might be gotten in a day, it can give you that ability to say, from machine learning, you can predict, you can use it to your satisfaction. However, they are based on um, models. So for business analysts, for us to thrive in this domain and using it responsibly, is for us to understand that we need to possess that ability, which is capable to apply, intelligence to solve problem. So if we look at it this way, and I'll give an example, we have agentic AI. Now let me speak about agentic AI. So this is the ability for them to interpret context and make decisions. So given a scenario now, I would say the scenario is this: a factory that they churn out recipes, and they look for recipes based on each city or each domain. Now, as human, you need to gather all those requirements. But if you have your prompt using prompt engineering, you give that task to AI to spool, the recipe based for that city alone. It will save you time, right? It will save you time to oversee what has been done. And I would say that generative AI nowadays is a revolution. Is not the IP is there, but it's a revolution. So two thoughts of C-suite, view generative AI as a revolutionary game changer. So the difference for us as business analysts is using it to optimize our task and to make our task simpler, for us to look at that strategic way, where we come in, where we oversee what has been done, and also bearing in mind that we need to look at it from the ethical aspect. So nowadays we have, and I cited this scenario, in one of my conference that I just concluded. I said there's a video that was launched out there, whereby we can see that two presidents, yeah, they had a meeting. The outcome of the meeting is different from what was turned out. So that's to tell you that uh, if we don't use it ethically, the data that you input, for example, if you are working on a project right now, the data you input into that AI, right? What it has given you has been stored in what we call a knowledge base. So that aspect is saying to you that how do we ensure that whatever we put in is secure, right? And speaking of protection on GDPR, we can say that what we have here, how do we ensure that whatever I put in is secure, that another person won't be able to either replicate it or get access to it? So that is what I would say about the link between machine learning and deep learning. So we can see that agentic AI is autonomous, right? They are autonomous systems. And we can also see that there's another aspect for it that is scalable, right? I call them broad deployment. Then the last one is responsible AI, which considers which has ethical consideration and transparency. So this influences how organizations, adapt operations and approach the competitive to their market.
Yeah, and also it helps us in our everyday job, in our
Yeah,
everyday tasks. Yeah, and when we talk about everyday tasks, we can look at it from two different angles or viewpoints.
yeah,
We can say about we want to automate all of them, or
yeah.
we want to add some mm, options for us when we do this. So we want to augment our options when we do all these tasks. So
Yeah.
what is the difference between automation and augmentation?
Right. So I will go this way, and I will say that, looking at artificial intelligence, I will say that this is the system's ability to correctly interpret external data, to learn from such data and to use those learning to achieve specific goals. Right. If you look at it and you say automation, automation simply implies, that machine takes over human task Whereas with augmentation, humans and machines collaborate closely to perform different tasks. Okay, so that is how we can collaborate, and that is what we will say that artificial intelligence cannot really take over our job, because if we look at it, there's that part where we say that we still need human interaction, right? So human interaction is still needed. We can't just fizzle out because we say it's a continuous learning, it keeps learning based on what we input into it. And speaking, for example, saying chat gpt, if you put in a prompt now into chat gpt itself, right, if you ask it to do something for you and you get an answer from it, if you put that same thing on another agentic AI, you get a different answer. And a typical example that I will give, look at all the multiple agentic AI that we have out there, and put in a question to say, out of chat gpt or copilot, tell me the best. The answer you will get, you won't get anything different from that particular agentic AI, because simply it has been programmed based on the knowledge base that these are the required answers that I have. And if you look at it, if you ask for information in 2026, most likely you might not get an answer. If you get an answer, it's gonna be relatively close to what you are looking for, because machine learning itself, the knowledge base that I'm speaking of is that whatever you've given into it, whatever you have in that knowledge base, that is what is going to act on. However, there's probability and also the consistency of learning over time to increase, the answer that is being generating. So that's to say that it's learning over time to get better, to give you something better. And I'll go back to that same example that I gave earlier, you know, about about a factory trying to augment their process. And this is the synergy. If you look at it, I can say that the future of business right now, right, of business and business analysis lies in collaboration between artificial intelligence and human analysts, because AI can enhance human capability. And how do I mean? Human capability in the sense that when it is providing data driven insight, right, to inform decision making. So that is where human comes in. And like I said, automation and augmentation. Automation is saying, you know what? Um, I want you to put together recipe to create this dish. It won't create the dish for you, right? But it will give you the process, it will give you everything you need to get that thing executed. So this is freeing up time, right, for analysts to focus on high value tasks. So it's better for us to say, I can execute this project rather than spending 4 to 5 hours, looking for particular data set. Just citing an example now, it can do those repetitive tasks for us, whereby we see the value and the input on how we can make it better. Speaking of bias, so if you give a prompt engineering now, or a prompt request, and you say, um, based on this data set, give me a number of male and female or otherwise. If that agentic AI has been built in such a way that is only meant to favor males, then the output you will get for your particular work will be different. So that is where we come in to say, this data set that you've given to me, is it true? Is it real? And speaking of that, I read somewhere that there was a particular lawyer, okay, and what the lawyer did, the lawyer got all his case study, you know, evidences, presented it in court, and after that, they got to know that everything was wrong. So because and it's there, I think it was on CNN thereabouts. And if you look at it, assuming the lawyer took time to verify those data sets that he got from what's so called generative AI, it would have been better for him to say, oh, this is not true. This is not relatively true. This is true. So that is how we can augment, that is how we can make it work, that is how we can verify. And that is where the transparency comes in, to say, you know what, this thing you are giving to me is right, and I can work with this. So another thing is augmenting human analysis. Artificial intelligence augments human analysis with advanced predictive capabilities. Now, speaking of business analysts, because we are the human, and that's why I said automation and augmentation. So we are the human. Now, as business analysts, human in quotes, we can provide critical oversight, right? Critical oversight in such a way that it validates AI generated insight. And that's the example I just gave earlier. So if we apply our domain expertise, right, because we understand our domain, it is easy for us to say, the context or our contextual understanding to AI input. So this will really help us to say that we can verify what has been done so far. However, we should know that as business analysts, we can rely on artificial intelligence to do a bit of our work. It can't do everything for us. So I know that there are so many agentic AIs out there that if you want to create a process map now, if you put in your prompt rightly, it will generate your process flow for you, and you can undo that. I hope that answers your question, Kole.
Yeah, and again, talking about business analysis and tasks, business analysis tasks. What do you
Yeah.
think? What tasks can be automated, and what tasks should be augmented for business analysts?
Okay.
Or we can talk about areas here or tasks. What you have from the top of your mind?
Task that can be augmented. So I would say relatively, if you are new to a particular domain, right? And say, because as a business analyst, I believe that you should be able to work around all the sectors, if you ask me, right? But if it is a new domain, AI can come in handy for you, right? Because it will give you the framework, it will give you the background information that you need for that particular domain. So speaking of, say, energy, right? If you are not a domain expert in that field, you can get your evidences or a a large small chunk of data set that can be informative, or that will be informative, to you, to say this is what it entails. Now, it's up to you to verify those inputs. It's up to you to say, what this has given me, is it transparent enough, right? And if you are saying, is it transparent enough, at the same time, you are saying that what I've gotten, you can't rely on that to execute your task. You still need to take, go a step higher, further, to say, you know what I've gotten from it is enough. If it's not enough, give me an example now, saying process mapping. So I've seen a particular platform, a generative AI, in such a way that if you plug in into it, right, it will give you the output that you need. And this is why I say that it's all dependent on strength. If you look at artificial intelligence strength, putting it together, and human strength. Now, to answer your question, my answer is based on this. AI strength, we can leverage that to say this is on data processing, right? And also when it comes to predictive analysis. So we can say that, to automate our daily task, for me personally, and this is what I would say, for me personally, if I have a large project that I'm working on, and I know that there are some repetitive tasks on that project that I should work with, okay, I would rather use prompt engineering to do that for me, while I think of something, thinking outside the box to say, what else can I do? What else can I do better? How else can I function better? Leaving what artificial intelligence has done for me, because I know that I still need to complete that particular task. Okay, so if I ask you the question now, that you as a business analyst in cybersecurity, how have you leveraged artificial intelligence? Because I know cybersecurity is quite rigid. Let me use that word, right? So, what are the daily tasks that you have used as a cybersecurity analyst?
If you're talking about cybersecurity, so
Yeah.
first of all, we can analyze potential risks and in our requirements, for example, or in our
Yeah.
functionalities that we are developing. It's the first thing that AI does great. So it just analyzes your requirements and gives you some examples what can happen. Yeah, what can go wrong, or what you should think of. Yeah. Second thing, you can just ask AI to uh, improve your requirements from cybersecurity point of view, or just think about some special requirements, or even some changes in your architecture
Mm.
to make your system more robust and better from cybersecurity view. So it's all things. First of all, it's good because we don't share any um, uh, commercial or closed information with AI, because it's mostly, if you're not talking about some um, if you don't tell AI about how it's built, yeah, to every IP address, type of system, etc. So we're talking about some common things, some high-level ideas. It can easily work.
Mm.
But if you're
Right.
going into deep, yeah, when we're talking about some commercial information, we should keep in mind that everything we share with AI, it will stay there, and we really hope that if it's enterprise, for example, environment, so this information won't go outside of your enterprise environment. But anyway, we should be really cautious when we share any information with AI, control that we don't share any sensitive information with AI in this case.
Yeah, that's great. Speaking of, and I just remember this. According to Matthew Evans, yes, Matthew Evans, Airbus. You know, Airbus said something, and they said, strictly speaking, they don't invest in AI, right? They don't invest in natural language processing. Okay. At the same time, they don't invest in image analytics. You know what they do? They are always investing in business problem. And that's to tell us that, technology provides zero value to your company. Is what you do with the technology that has value.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
And
So it's not really about the technology. It's not how you leverage AI. It's not how you do your prompt engineering. But if it doesn't align with the business goal, there's no point at all.
Yeah,
So
and the,
it's leveraging AI to understand that even though artificial intelligence is not intelligent, okay, but it can act in such a way that it can act intelligently, and that's potentially useful. So it's really, people say artificial intelligence is smart. I would say no, it's not an intelligent system, but it's how you make it work intelligently. That's based on algorithms at the same time anyways.
yeah, yeah, and I think that the main idea of using AI, we should keep in mind that AI is still a tool. Yeah, and we decide as business analysts, we can help our business stakeholders to decide how to use it, where
Yeah,
to use it, and also to our colleagues and to ourselves. So we can just analyze all the tasks we do as business analysts and see, okay, yeah, this one is repetitive and it's simple or not, maybe simple, but again, there is a lot of some repetitive or technical stuff inside this task. So let's bring AI
yeah,
here. Yeah, for example, we have the idea, we know the main requirements, but we can easily help ask AI to transform this diagram into text requirements. For example, in some use
absolutely,
case or user stories, yeah, or vice versa. So just take your use cases and just create some diagram. Or
absolutely.
yeah, and if we keep it on the good level of automation, so we can easily update our requirements using AI. Yeah, just saying, okay, guys, we have changed this one, please update diagram, or we changed diagram here, please update requirements, etc. Or just convert it into RASI matrix, convert it to something else. So it will do this. And it will help us to focus on business requirements, yeah, things that bring value to business.
Yeah,
And this way we're talking about AI human synergy and strength of this
yeah,
synergy, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so what other things can be helpful for us as humans when we use AI?
Yeah, I would say, and this is picking another organization now, and you know what they've done with artificial intelligence? It's is writing 98% of their policies. Right. If you look at Lemonade, for example, and that's according to them, they've utilized it in such a way that that is that is the tool they've adapted to write their policy. Now, if you look at that part, I can say, right, I can say that perhaps there's someone in that particular role, writing their policy. And that's why people are saying, oh, we AI take over my work. Now, if you look at that, most likely they've substituted artificial intelligence for that role. So there are some roles as business analysts that, and I will keep saying it, that you can't take away the human contribution. You can't take away how we relate with stakeholders, the empathy, you know, that that we have, and how we use that to solve problems, right? So if you look at that section, or that aspect, you see that we still need that human interaction. However, even though human interaction is needed, it's based on how do business analysts upskill to use these tools effectively. I was telling a colleague of mine, and I was saying, that going forward, right? Most roles, and I'm just saying, most roles that you will see is to tell you, even though you are a business analyst, do you know how to use this AI tool? So it's not really about the traditional ways we've been doing things. Rather, it's how we can upskill ourselves to match, to match the energy that will bring result to organizations, to businesses. So is we upskilling ourselves to learn how to fully optimize these tools ethically, you know, ethically to do our jobs. So it's not about saying, oh, I have artificial intelligence and doing a wishy-washy job. No, it's how we use it effectively, how we use it to ensure that we add value to that organization, how we add value to the business analysis community. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and what do you think about idea? Yeah, because talking about value and AI tools and synergy, there's often really, I don't know. For me, it's a hard task. Sometimes you need
Yeah,
to listen to boring stakeholders,
yeah,
and you should sit quietly, yeah, for half an hour, an hour, just letting them share their thoughts on some idea,
yeah.
even if they're not connected to the topic you were discussing before you started to discuss it. What do you think about the idea just replacing yourself with AI for these tasks?
Um, can AI replace me? I would say no. Yeah, I would say no.
But still, you can bring your hologram, yeah, or AI companion to this discussion. So it will just say yes, yes, yes to the to your stakeholder, and later just provide you with a list of summary and just ping you when there is a time to discuss something important.
I'll give you a quick example. I was in a meeting, right? And someone plugged in an AI to for note taking. Do you know, because that particular person was on mute, do you know what the AI said? the AI the AI dropped a comment and said, you know what? I've been here for 15 minutes and I can't hear nothing. I'm going out. So that's to
No,
tell you that it's so, you know, someone said, if human beings can be that transparent and that can be that honest, because it says to you, I'm here to listen, I'm here to take note for you. However, because I can't hear anything, I hear nothing from anyone, now I'm out, my job is done. So it's just to tell us that is a one way is a one way traffic, let me put it that way, right? Because it can only it can only go in one direction of saying, this is what I've given to you, process it, do it this way, and give the result. It's not going to go outside that to say, you know what, I'm going to provide you an alternative until you prompt it to give you an alternative answer or an alternative result. So it needs the human interaction to say, you know what, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. But as human, we have the capability to say, think intelligently and say, you know what, if this is not working right, what is an alternative way to do this? If you look at a situation and as business analyst, you look at, for example, you've been given a timeline to deliver on a project, okay? And that project, you know that, say, 8 weeks, you can deliver within 8 weeks, okay? And you got additional requests, and this is actually what I'm saying, anyways. But just to give a scenario, now you got the request to say that, you know what, you can't complete this, and these are so many types of errors made by business analysts, because if you have your requirement at a goal, you should know the timeline to take you to complete that task. All right. But what I'm saying is, humans, as business analysts, we can easily say, you know what, this project, we can't complete it within this time period or within this time frame. Then either you ask for an extension or you take it to another version, or maybe version 2, or that things like that. But your artificial intelligence will tell you, this is what I can do at this time, and I won't go beyond that.
yeah. And talking about implementing AI,
Yeah,
it's great that you mentioned this particular task of making notes, because meeting notes is a very important tool for business analysts.
yeah,
Yeah. Often, yeah, they help you a lot when something bad happens and your stakeholders just don't forget what they asked you to do or something else. But often it takes a lot of time just to process and to write this all meeting notes, and taking active participation in the meeting and making meeting notes often very complicated task. And in this case, yeah, it's I should admit that it's first task that I love to pass to AI. So it does it great now. So it just makes great meeting notes. It just make this script of the meeting, and sometimes good tools they just can connect to Jira, for example, and even mark user stories or issues in Jira we were discussing during the conversation. So this is a great example of how we can automate and augment our abilities with AI. What any other implementation, yeah, some ideas or maybe challenges do you have in mind? Yeah, when we talk about AI.
yeah. If I take it from the last example you gave about note taking, I can say that at the same time, even though it's um, it's good to use artificial intelligence to take notes. However, if you meet a stakeholder, right, that your artificial intelligence can't really interpret or note down what the person is saying, and you rely on that artificial intelligence to say, oh, it's taking note, you might get back to your note and you meet a whole bit of jargons, right? So in as much as I agree that we should use that, I would say the limitations of artificial intelligence is the lack of intuition, right? Lack of intuition, and that's saying, you know, AI cannot replicate human intuition or fully understand complex organization dynamics. However, when it comes to processing speed, AI is good for that. As humans, we cannot match the processing speed of AI, in analyzing either large data sets or so, right? So when we talk of potential for error, we humans, business analysts, we are prone to make mistakes, especially in repetitive tasks. So when we know that this repetitive task, we are prone to make errors. Why not just give it to AI, let it do it for us and solve that problem? So another challenge I would say is lack of creativity. Lack of creativity, limited creativity. AI as it struggles with innovative problem solving and generating truly novel ideas. So what we say is it's regurgitating the same thing in different way. So if we look at it, there's although it's learning over time and the answers can get better over time, but it doesn't give a novel idea. It doesn't give something new in that particular domain. So I would say that's a challenge as well, right? And lastly, I've mentioned this, and that is potential for bias. So AI can AI can perpetrate, biases, right? Which which will give us it won't give us the right answer to what we are looking for. Like you mentioned now, you said, you can put in for it to elicit your requirements, even though you know what you are looking for, you know the step, you know the prompt that you're giving to it, right? But if that data is not correct, if not accurate, there might be an issue. And that is what can affect a business analyst not to deliver accurately, optimally on a particular project. So looking at these are some of the challenges that I've seen over time, and we just need to upskill ourselves and not to rely so much on artificial intelligence. Rather, we should find a way to work hand in hand, collaborate together. That's where augmentation comes in. Yeah, you know, augment what we know that the the error, the percentage of errors is quite minimal, right? And even though it's minimal, we as business analysts, as humans, we can, accurately, we can correct that particular error. But anything that is more than what a business analyst can tackle, that is more than what a business analyst can correct, that will waste your time and resources, because the time you've given to that generate the particular artificial intelligence to do for you, you would use double. You're gonna use double of that time, to solve that issue. So it doesn't make any sense for me to say I've given you a task to do and I'm still coming back to correct the old task again. So why not? It's true. Why don't I just put in that time and say, you know what, optimally, efficiently, save time, save cost, save energy, to say, get the right prompt that you can oversee as a business analyst. Use the right prompt that is just to give you an idea, not to solve that particular problem in depthly for you. So my and I say this for aspiring business analysts, is quite tricky. It's quite tricky if you say, as a business analyst, you have artificial intelligence and you can deliver on a particular in a particular domain, right? You still you need to take your time to go through the framework. You need to take your time to understand, the stakeholder, the context, the solution, the needs. So you need to understand how you can analyze the problems, business problems, and give the right result. Thereafter, when you understand fully the problem, then you know the right repetitive task to give to artificial intelligence to solve for you, which makes your life much more easier.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to add that you should spend some effort, some time to just learn how to use AI and also to train this AI you want to use later. So it's always as with any other tool, you need to spend some effort to prepare to use it. And with artificial intelligence, often it takes a lot of time and effort just to train it to the level
Yeah,
that you can use it for some more complicated tasks, not only just making a script and trying to make meeting notes and
yeah,
finding out the tasks that we discussed during the meeting.
yeah,
And I can support your idea that we should always control and check what we get out
absolutely.
of AI, because we still have these hallucinations. And sometimes I feel like QA in the team when you just create a prompt to get something, then you create another prompt to check the result of this prompt. Yeah, and you built in this system that controls the results of the prompts
Yeah,
of the answers you get from this. But
yeah,
anyway, I think it's a great idea and a great field for business analysts,
yeah,
because on one hand we don't need to have any special development tools and knowledge,
yeah,
so it's always like discussion. On the other hand, we need to understand the context and to be able to find the correct answer
yeah,
and
absolutely,
build this
absolutely,
prompt the way that we get this correct answer.
absolutely. And I would say that as business analysts, right, if we embrace artificial intelligence, right, it will help us become more agile, right? It will help us become more efficient and also strategic, right, in our decision making approach, because we have more time to focus on the right things. We have more time to focus on uh, things that will add value. Okay, so things that's gonna consume our time, we can allocate that to artificial intelligence. However, We need to have an overview. We need to have an eagle view, on it to say this is absolutely correct. This works for me, and this is uh, um, is feasible, because you can't have some examples given to you by the intelligence and they are not feasible. So I don't want us to make the same as business analysts. I don't want us to make the same error, like the example I gave earlier, about a lawyer giving, getting results from that particular chat GPT prompt. So I would say that we need to look at that, so that we don't give false information, or rather we don't get false requirements, on businesses for us to complete projects. So we need to do our you need to do our findings. We need to understand that we need to understand the domain we are working in. That's just to cap it all. We need to understand, because if you have the right knowledge about your domain, if artificial intelligence gives you something different, you are very quick to say no, that is wrong. You are very quick to say this is not correct, or this can be done better, in a better way. So it's always good for us to know the domain we find ourselves, and also to upskill ourselves, like you mentioned, how to train AI to do our work effectively. One of my colleagues will say you need to train it in a way that it will think like human and speak like human and communicate that way. So that's some kind of level of you training the artificial intelligence to say, you know what, I've trained you up to this level, and how I reason. Although it can't imitate you, but it can think logically. Yeah, it can think logically towards that aspect and make your work faster.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't replace you and get your salary, yeah, instead of you someday. Okay, anyway, yeah, still it's a tool. We should keep in mind that it's tool. It's powerful tool. Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to train it, and we can make from this tool a great assistant for ourselves
yeah,
for many of BA tasks. But
yeah,
still it needs guidance, it needs
yeah,
control. And what do you think about responsibility? Because anyway, we when we create requirements, we take responsibility on the result of what will be developed based on these requirements.
yeah.
Are you ready to pass this responsibility to AI, or we should keep it on ourselves?
I would say I'm ready to, which I've been doing anyway, so I'm not ready. So I've been passing my repetitive tasks to AI to do for me, because it gives me more time to think outside the box. It gives me more time to be more productive. So as business analyst, initially what I've been doing, that I feel, and I say this anywhere for myself, I've always said that as a business analyst, now, um, okay, let me put it this way: as business analysts, we are not note takers, right? We are not we are not admin personnel to say in any meeting you find yourself, you are taking notes to say that, okay, I have seen what you said, or I understand what you said. Rather, is a way using thinking logically, on how to solve problems, seeing from the same perspective of the stakeholder. So it's not about saying everything garbage in, garbage out that you put down. Rather, is for you to optimally, get your prompt. If you want to leverage artificial intelligence, get your prompt that will make your work faster while you are having your stakeholder meeting, or what have you. So that's what I've been doing so far. So for me, I would say all my repetitive tasks, I've leveraged AI to do that. But when it comes to um, augmentation, automation, I've done that. I've been doing automation. But when it comes to augmentation, that is what I'm focusing more now, augmenting uh, my process. That is for me to collaborate to give an optimal and effective result at the same time.
Yeah. So we are getting running out of time, and just want to remind you that David will be speaking about AI during our conference with other speakers. We will discuss a lot artificial intelligence. So please visit our page, get your tickets, and for all our audience tonight, we have special discount code for 10% discount for conference for session day tickets. So join us on May 15 for the conference, and also we'll have
Absolutely.
on May 14 and May 16 we will have workshops. There are several workshops about AI as well. So please check the web page and select the workshop that you will be more interested in.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, we will have a lot of discussion about AI, and David will join the group of other business analyst professionals who will be talking about AI. And tonight we had pretty interesting discussion and quick preview of the David's speech during the conference. We have a few questions more, so if there is any questions at the audience, should just write in the chat or just unmute yourself. Okay, I
Okay.
think
Anyone? Any
it's
question?
not yet. I think yeah. Later you can easily contact David yeah in LinkedIn or just ping me, so I will pass your question to David, and I think he will be happy. You will be David. Will you be happy to answer any question?
Of course. Absolutely. I'll be happy to answer you. Please just reach out to me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm open to answer you and give insight to your question as well.
Okay, so again, hope to see you all at our conference on May 15. Check our webpage for any interesting webinars, workshops we will have on 14th and 16th. And David, thank you very much for interesting conversation tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I look forward to the event. And I'll also say that people should get their tickets and attend the event as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you
All
to
right.
everyone. Bye. Have a nice evening.
Yes, bye.